Alright, here's how you work problems with proportions and similar triangles. Anytime you have two triangles where one's kind of contained in another, or anytime they're overlapping, it's always a good idea to draw them separately. Because otherwise you might think, oh, let's do 24 is to 10 as x is to 30. The problem with that is, well, there's no way that 24 is to 10 as x is to 30. Because first of all, when you're talking about your big triangle, it's got to be longer than this little small triangle here. So draw them separately. If I draw my big triangle separately, okay? So here's my big triangle and there's my small triangle. What I want to do is, well, I know my small triangle is, this piece right here, right? Well, that thing has a base of 30 and has a height of x. But your big triangle has a base of 40 because it's 30 plus 10. And of course it has a height of 24. So your proportion you want to set up is actually, you want to compare, your bases and heights. So you want to do 24 is to 40 as x is to 30. Alright? So when you cross multiply here, take the cross product. 40 times x, that just gives you 40x. And then 24 times 30, well, over here on the side I'm going to do 24 times 30. If you multiply 0 times everything, it's just a 0. So you're really doing 24 times 3 and adding a 0. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6. Carry the 1, so 720. So 40x equals 720. Alright, I got an x times 40, so I want to divide by 40 here. Alright, your zeros cancel out. So 72 divided by 4. So how many times is 72? How many times does 4 go into 72? 4 goes into 7 once. There's 3. Break 92. 4 goes into 32 8 times. So x is equal to 18. And check to make sure your answer makes sense. If you put 18 up here, let's see, 18 is 30. 18 is about, half of 30. A little over half. 24 as to compare it to, not to 10, you're comparing it to 40, right? You're adding these two together. So, 24 is a little more than half of 40, so that checks out. Alright, now you try this one. Remember, it's a good idea to draw them separately. Start by, draw your big triangle, draw your small triangle. The big triangle is, the whole thing. The small triangle is just this piece right here. So pause the video and try to work this one out. Alright, so here's how this one works. Your small triangle, the height is x, the base is 8. Alright, and your big triangle, well, the height is 5, but what's our base? It's not 2, because your big triangle is all of this. Your height is the 2 and the 8 combined, so 2 plus 8 gives you 10. So this one, the height is 10. So here's your proportion. Alright, and you can set up several different ones. You can either do 5 is to x as 10 is to 8, or you can do 5 over 10 equals x over 8, or you can do 8 over x equals 10 over 5. So, there's so many ways you can do it. I'll just do 5 over 10, alright, comparing base to height. That's what I'm doing. Base is to height as base is to height, so is equal to x over 8. Again, take your cross products. So this is 10x is equal to, that's 40. If you want to solve for x, you got to divide by 10 on both sides. So x is equal to 4. You should have gotten 4. Alright, let's do some ones where you have proportions and you got some binomials in there, okay? So let's look at one like this. Now, we cross multiply just like normal, so we're going to cross multiply these and cross multiply these. So 8 times n is 8n. Alright, and then you want to do 4 times n plus 4. Right, you're multiplying it times that entire numerator. And we know we're going to have to distribute. 8n equals 4n plus 16. Now, when you get to this point, remember, your strategy for solving equations is always you want to get your variables on one side of an equation and your constants, which are really just your non-variables or your numbers, on the other side. Well, 8n and 4n, those both have variables in it. Now, I want to group them together, but I don't group them together by multiplying. I don't group them together by adding. You got to move it from one side of the equation to another. All right, I want to move the 4n, the entire 4n, not just the 4. So if I want to move it to both sides, I have to subtract it because it's being added to 16. So you do 8n minus 4n, that gives you 4n. Alright, and 4n minus 4n is 0, so 4n is equal to 16. Alright, then I want to get n by itself, so I divide by 4 on both sides. Well, when you divide by 4 here, you know, your 4 and your 4 divided by 1, that gives you 1n. 16 divided by 4 is 4, so 1n equals 4. But 1 times n is just n, so n is equal to 4. And you can always plug in to check. Let's go ahead and check it. Let's see, if n is 4, that means, alright, this is 4 and this is 4. Let's see, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 over 8 is 1. Oh, 4 over 4 is 1. Alright, that checks out. So you can always check your answer. So if you have time, always do that when you're taking quizzes or tests. Alright, let's do the same thing again, but you try this one, okay? Again, you want to take your cross products. So you want to do multiply these and set that equal to the product of these. So go ahead and pause the video and try this one. Alright, so we're going to take our cross products. So what we do is we do 8 times x plus 4, so 8 times, good idea to put parentheses, x plus 4, because you're multiplying it times the entire numerator. That's equal to 6 times x plus 10, so 6 times x plus 10. Distribute 8x plus 8 times 4 is 32 is equal to 6x. 6 times 10 is 60. Alright, and again, our strategy is we want to have variables on one side of your equation, and you want to have constant terms on another side of your equation. So our variables are the 8x and the 6x. I want to get those together. Now, the way I move a 6x from one side of the equation to another, I subtract it from both sides. Because if you do this something to one side of the equation, you have to do it to the other side. So subtracting 6x kills it here, but then kind of, you know, if I do the same thing here, if I take away the same from both in an equation, it's fair. So 8x minus 6x is 2x, and I'm going to bring down to 32 equals 60. Now I want to get all my constants together. Well, 32 is a constant or a number. You know, 60 is a constant. So I want to unadd a 32 from this side, which means I want to subtract it from both sides. Alright, and then I just do a little bit of arithmetic. So what I get is, you still have the 2x here. Alright, the 32's cancel out to 0. Alright, 60 minus 32, see 10 minus 2 is 8. Have to borrow from here. 5 minus 3 is 2. So it's 28. So 2x equals 28. I want to get x by itself. It's being multiplied by 2, so I divide it by 2 on both sides. Did the same thing on both sides, so it's fair. So x is equal to 28 divided by 2. Well, 28 divided by 2 should be 14, so x is equal to 14. And that's how you work these. So if you have any other practice problems with those, feel free to email me. Good luck.